Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we will carry on with our heavy-duty knurling toolkit. Tonight specifically we will work on the spacer pins. The upper and lower jaw assemblies each have a spacer pin out close to the wheel here. It's a little easier to see in this view. There's a spacer pin here, screw threads into each side, same on the upper arm assembly. We're talking about number 4 here. Number 4, the spacer pin. Here's our kit contents sheet. Here's the spacer pins here, 3/8 diameter, 1215 ultra machinable steel. Our stock is 2 1/4 inches long. Here's the spacer pin drawing. As we can see here in the title, 2 spacer pins are required, and they are from 3/8 diameter 1215 steel. The overall length is 7/8 of an inch. We'll need 2 pins from our 2 1/4 inch stock, so that means we have plenty of room for parting and cleaning up the faces. In the central area here, it's just shown as the diameter of the stock, so there's no turning involved here. We'll just use a Scotch-Brite pad and clean up that area. We have 2 reduced diameter areas on the ends here. I've specified 0.250 plus 0 minus up to 3 thou. If you don't happen to have a reamer, if you drilled this hole, or if your reamer is reaming large on you, what we want to do here is match the hole. Basically, we want a nice close sliding fit for these 2 diameters in the holes that are in the arms. Having a good fit for the hole is more important than trying to match these dimensions exactly. And we have threads on each end of the spacer pin. For our screws, we have to thread deep enough so that the screw will bottom out completely. Here we have the operations list in order for our heavy-duty knurling tool kit build. Regarding the spacer pins, first thing we're going to do is part or saw the stock into 2 relatively equal halves. We'll turn the ends, put a nice finish on all ends in preparation for exact measurement. We can't measure off of saw cut or rough turned ends, so we'll get a nice clean finish on all ends of our stock and go from there. Once we have those cleaned up ends, we can turn to exact length. Once we have those ends, we can measure, and then we can turn to exact length. We should be able to get within 1 or 2 thou of our lengths. Once we have it to length, we'll turn our reduced diameter areas. We will thread each end of the pin, making sure that our screws will bottom out completely. And we'll chamfer any sharp edges to clean the pins up. I like to lay out my operations, at least as you're looking at the drawings, whether you do this mentally or when I'm trying to show you guys. I've got it actually typed out here, and it's I find it's a great way to just keep track of where you are and put your thoughts on paper regarding how you're going to make the part. It really helps things, I find. plus you get to do the ever so satisfying check marks. Here we have 6 opportunities for check marks. It's going to be great. Let's head over to the lathe. Okay, here we are at the bench. There's our spacer pin stock. There's 2 pins inside there. So we're just going to give ourselves a felt pen mark. And we want to divide that roughly in half. So I'm going to use my parting blade on the lathe. You could use a hacksaw, bandsaw, whatever your preferred method is. Okay, I've got my stock in the collet chuck. I've got my parting tool in the tool post. I'm going to line up my parting tool and lock my quick change tool post down. This parting blade has a carbide insert and it works pretty well. This is 1215 steel, so it's not an issue. Simply lining up with my felt pen mark there. We'll go 300 RPM. There you have it, just that easy. That is our first operation complete. We can put a check mark on that one. Part or saw stock into 2 halves. Check mark. Ooh, that was good. Turn a nice finish on all ends in preparation for exact measurements. We've got to clean up our 4 ends. We'll put a nice finish on there so that we can get an exact measurement. Okay, we're back to the diamond tool holder. I'm just going to take a quick rough pass on this face, and then we'll use power feed for a good finish. We'll do that at 755. Power feeding. Power feeding, I'll just break that sharp edge with the file. And the Scotch-Brite just to remove any miscellaneous fuzzies. See that? That's a surface you can measure off of. Same thing again 3 times. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. file. Nothing wrong with that at all. This is unrelated. I was fiddling outside with my sump pump hose and the clamp got me somehow. The file. Nice finish on all four ends. You know what that means. Okay, we are going to measure for exact length. Our prints are saying 7/8 of an inch. So here's our scratch pad. Project is a heavy-duty Knurler spacer pin. We're working on the feature that is the overall length. Print says 0.875. We got quite a size difference in our pins here, which is fine. We got lots of material to play with. Pin A will be the short one, we'll call it. Measured a couple of different places. I'm showing a consistent 1.023. My daughter gave me a space pen for my birthday. It's awesome. The longer one, 1.085. Very consistent because we had such nice faces on there. Doesn't matter how you measure it. There is a nub. I'm not 1000% on center, so there is a bit of a nub. I'm avoiding that when I measure. 1.085. This is long. This is the short one. Okay. The short one we need 148 thousandths off, and on the long one 210 thou. Let's go back to the lathe. Okay, I have pin B in the chuck. There's 210 to come off. I'm going to bring my diamond tool holder with its bit gently up to the face of the work. I'm going to place my magnetic back dial indicator here. I'm going to set my dial to 0 exactly. My dial gauge is nice and perpendicular to the carriage. Set to 0. I'm going to take 30 thou passes until we get close. Then I'll take a final pass. The 30 thou roughing cuts I will do by hand. The final pass I'll do under power feed. Okay, we'll dial in our first 30. 120, 150, 180, 200, 210 exactly on the dial. 210 exactly on the dial. I have my carriage locked. We'll be using power feed. I'll zoom you in for this final cut. Okay, the moment of truth. There we are, a half a thou under. Full thou under. Half a thou. That will work lovely. Okay, I'll do the same thing to the other pin, and we will reconvene. There we have it. 2 pins to exact length. Ready? Okay, next we're going to return the reduced diameter areas. Here's the 2 areas on each pin that we are concerned with at this point. My reamer reamed a hole that was 0.250. It worked well. It didn't go oversized. Yours may go oversized, it may go undersized. You may not have had a reamer, you may have used a drill. It's more important that it match the hole than it match these dimensions. That's it in a nutshell. I'm going to happen to shoot for these dimensions, but you go for a nice snug sliding fit in the holes that are in your arm plates. We want it to assemble easily. We don't want to have to squeeze it in the vise to get it together. We want it to assemble easily, yet this be a snug fit to secure our arm assemblies together. On these reduced diameter areas, we have 2 dimensions to worry about. We have the length of the feature and the diameter. Here's my carriage stop. I've just snugged it up gently on the waist. It can still move, but it's not bouncing around. I have my diamond tool bit snugly against the face. Snugly but gently. I didn't drive it into that face. I have my magnetic back dial indicator here, set to 0. I removed the tool from the work. I advanced the carriage 250 thousandths exactly. I locked my carriage stop. Bang. I no longer have to worry about my lengths. My length is now set, should be very accurate. Next step is next thing I want to do is take 20 thousandths off the OD of our pin. We'll take 20 thousandths off, then we'll take a measurement and see where we're at. So there I'm against the work. I'm going to advance my cross slide 20 thousandths, and I'm going to set my cross side dial to exactly 0. We're going to use power feed so that we get a nice finish. Then we can measure that diameter and calculate how much more has to come off. Dial's on exactly 0. Back tool away. I'll just use the Scotch Brite on there to remove any fuzzies. And we'll measure, see where we're at. 0 on my dial says project is the spacer pins. The feature we're discussing is the reduced diameter areas. Print says 0.250. My micrometer measures with the dial set at 0. We've made a cut. Now the micrometer says the diameter is 0.338. Do the math. It tells us we have to remove 88 thousandths off the diameter. 88 thousandths. I will hand feed in 20 thousandths bites, and then power feed for the final. We'll go 20, 40, 60, 80, and then power feed for the last 8. Here's my dial on 0 again, 20 thou. Forty thou. I've turned my cross slide dial to exactly 088. And we'll power feed this final pass. Remove the fuzzies. And let's see how we did. That feels pretty good. Two thou under. Which is fine. This drawing says a range of 3 thou, I believe. Yeah, 2 thou under. So we're going to make a note of that. And we'll say 0.086 to come off. Knowing that now, that never changes. We'll reset our work for the other end. Of course, now our depth gauge is no longer accurate, but we have a good number on our diameter. So, gently up against the face. I just snug this up so it can still move. Dial indicator in. Set to 0 exactly. I got to bring it off the work. 1,000, 2,000, pardon me, 200 thousandths and 50. 0.250 right there. And we know what we want to hit on our crossfeed dial. We're shooting for 86. Here goes. Set my dial for exactly 86, which means this final pass will be 6 thousandths off the diameter, and we'll use power feed. Fuzzy removal. Oh, we're looking good there. We're over this time. We are over by 5/10. I'm going to give her a little extra Scotch Brite. And we'll call that good. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other pin. And bring you back when we're done. Okay, we have our 2 pins with the reduced diameter area. So Ooh, that was a good one. Next operation is to thread each end. We have to thread deep enough that our screw will bottom out. 12-15 is very forgiving material. The tapping should be real easy. The drawings show threads coming in from each end. It'd be much easier if we were able to thread in one continuous, thread the entire pin. My taper tap won't quite get me there. I could probably use this full length and then pick up the threads from the other end, but I'm noticing my bottom tap looks like it'll do the trick for us. So we'll start with the taper tap and see how we make out. First step is center drill. Go. I just need a divot. Our tap drill. Give it a little oil. I wanted to show you my surgical layout here of my tools needed, but I guess that's a bad spot for it. I'm going to use my tap wrench with guide. This goes in the tailstock chuck. This is an awesome product. I've had it for years and I love it. Okay, back end of my wrench is guided by tailstock chuck. Just tapping by hand. Just going by feel here, how much we can get away with before we get ourselves into trouble. Okay, I'm coming out and I'm going to clear those tips. Cousin Willie's toothbrush. Blow that out. Back in the same threads. More oil. Follow up with the tailstock. Clear the chips out again. If you start getting that sick feeling that something ain't right, back up. Okay, there's our tapping drill done. Our taper tap. Just so you can see the difference. We'll go with our bottoming tap now. Make sure we're on those same threads again. Now we're cutting. That's as far as we can go. But I'm pretty confident that that's done the trick for us. We don't have to worry about the other end now. We've done the entire pin. Your mileage may vary with your taps, but if possible, go this route and do it all at once. I'll grab a screw and we'll give it a test. That's looking great as far as the threads go. We kind of knew this already on this end. The screws are threaded all the way, but there is a radius in this corner which prevents it from bottoming out 100%. We'll have to put a small chamfer on that inside. This end's got, oh no, this end has a bit of a burr, so we'll just take that off and get ourselves that chamfer so that the screw can bottom out completely. Let's see how we did on this end. Just fine. So that's great. I'll do the next one off camera. There we have it. Two nicely threaded spacer pins. Thread each end. Boom. Last operation is chamfer. I should have said chamfering, I guess. Let me grab the drawing. Chamfer is needed to allow screw to bottom out. I've already done that. Rather than calling it chamfering, I'm just going to call it breaking the sharp edges. Breaking the sharp edges here, 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 and here. Very slight chamfers. We want that full surface to be up against the arm plates. The bigger the better. So I'll use a file for that. That's that one. Set up our next one. I'll bring you back when I'm... Alright, our two pins are complete. We can now check off our final operation, which was listed here as chamfering. I should have said breaking sharp edges. We just want to make these pleasant to handle, basically. So that's it for our spacer pins. It's storming outside. Lots of rain. The lights are flickering. I could lose power here. That's it for this one, guys. Be sure and subscribe. Like the video. Comment on the video. Give me a thumbs up. Cost you nothing for a thumbs up. And most importantly, go by the store and see where you can pick up one of these awesome kits. Build yourself a knurler that will last a lifetime. Buy it once. Thanks, guys. Take care.